Wubin walked to his car, but just as he was about to get in, Yuna appeared and stopped him. She firmly told him that she wouldn't allow him to drive since he was clearly intoxicated. Wubin tried to argue, insisting that he was fine, but Yuna stubbornly grabbed the car keys from him and got into the driver's seat. He stood there looking at her, realizing that he couldn't go against her. Defeated, he sighed, got into the passenger seat, and they drove away together. Meanwhile, Minsu sat by the dresser, getting ready for bed. She was thrilled about spending the night with Sunjin, something she had eagerly anticipated. As she sat lost in her thoughts, her phone rang. Seeing that it was her father, she answered excitedly, telling him how much she had missed him and her mother. Her father, relieved to hear her voice and know that she was okay, asked if she had everything she needed on campus and reassured her that they could send her money if necessary. Minsu, smiling, told him not to worry since she had moved in with Sunjin. She added that Sunjin's father had accepted her and had even encouraged her to move in with his son. The tone in her father's voice changed instantly. He made it clear that he was not happy about her decision to move in with Sunjin before marriage. He explained that it would have been more appropriate if she had waited until after their wedding. Minsu felt a pang of guilt, realizing that she had disappointed her parents and had not followed the values they had taught her. She admitted to herself that she had been blinded by excitement and hadn't even considered whether it was wrong. Apologizing sincerely, she explained to her father that she had simply been eager to spend every day with Sunjin. Her father, although disappointed, told her that since it was already done, she shouldn't let it weigh too heavily on her. Feeling comforted by his understanding, Minsu smiled and thanked him. As she ended the call, Sunjin walked into the room, fresh from a shower. He leaned in and kissed her cheek, telling her how beautiful she looked. Minsu stood up from the chair and looked at him. Seeing that he was wearing only a robe with nothing underneath, she felt shy and looked away. Sunjin, noticing her reaction, smirked and decided to tease her as always. He pulled her close, gazing into her eyes, and playfully told her that she wouldn't be getting any sleep that night. Embarrassed, Minsu quickly covered her face with her hands, avoiding eye contact. Sunjin took her hands, gently pulling them away from her face, and assured her that he was only joking. He promised that he would never force her into anything she wasn't ready for. Minsu, still flustered, admitted that it wasn't that she didn't want to. She was just nervous since it would be her first time. She had heard different stories, and the thought of it scared her. Sunjin listened to her, realizing just how innocent she was. He felt a sense of happiness, knowing that no other man had touched her. The thought of anyone else ever being with her made his blood boil. Curious, Minsu looked at him and asked if it would be his first time as well. Caught off guard, Sunjin let out a small laugh and avoided answering. But Minsu was persistent. She sat beside him on the bed holding his hands and insisted that he tell her the truth. Sunjin sighed and finally admitted that, as a man, of course, it wouldn't be his first time. He tried to explain that none of that mattered now, that his past was in the past. However, when he looked at Minsu, he saw that she was upset. He reached out to pull her close, but she stood up and walked out of the room in frustration. Sunjin regretted his words, but also found her jealousy adorable. Minsu sat alone in the living room, upset by the idea of Sunjin having been intimate with other women. It didn't sit well with her. A few moments later, Sunjin joined her. He sat next to her, watching her in silence before finally asking if she was still upset. Minsu didn't respond and simply stared ahead. Sunjin told her that he loved her and that his past didn't matter, because he was with her now. He gently pulled her into his arms and kissed her forehead before asking again if she was still upset. Minsu shook her head, signaling that she wasn't. Seeing this, Sunjin smiled and held her tightly, teasing her by saying that she looked cute when jealous. He added that if he could, he would remake himself so that she would be the only woman he had ever been with. Minsu smiled at his words, feeling reassured. He then asked if she wanted to go to bed, and she nodded. Hand in hand, they walked away together.